President John F. Kennedy delivered space program. Space race with the Soviet Union was well underway. And while our nation had achieved many, America was at real risk of, to the assembled thousand, a vow. Because of the vision.
Good afternoon. I'm Vanessa White, Director of NASA's Johnson Space Center. On behalf of our more than 11,000 employees in Houston and at our White Sands Test Facility in New Mexico, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Vice President Kamala Harris and the National Space Council. Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
Have a seat. Good afternoon. Madam Director, thank you for that very kind introduction and for your work. I am thrilled to be here. But for our director, I want to thank you for your leadership. You have been an inspiration to so many. It is truly an honor to be with so many leaders here today. I've had the chance to visit with quite a few of you this morning, and I will tell you, each and every one of you and our panelists, you inspire me and you inspire our nation, and by extension, you inspire the world. So thank you all for what you do. And to the members of our administration, the members of Congress who are here, private sector leaders, international partners, and of course, my fellow Americans, thank you and welcome to the second convening of our National Space Council. So 60 years ago next week, just up the road at Rice University, President John F. Kennedy delivered an address on the future of the American space program. At the time, the space race with the Soviet Union was well underway. And while our nation had made many discoveries and achieved many milestones in the years before, at the time, America was at real risk of falling behind. And so, to the assembled thousands and to the entire world, President Kennedy made a vow. Before the end of the decade, America would do what no nation had done before. We would set foot on the moon. Because of the vision of President Kennedy, because of the commitment of President Johnson, a champion of the American space program since his days in the United States Senate, and because of the hard work and ingenuity of thousands of Americans, our nation, in fact, did achieve that goal. In the decades since, America has orbited Mercury, landed rovers on Mars, and flown by Pluto. We have looked back on our Earth from billions of miles away, and we have built a telescope powerful enough to observe our universe as it was billions of years ago. Imagine For generations, with our allies and partners around the globe, America has led our world in the exploration and use of space. And I do believe that our leadership has been guided by a set of fundamental principles: cooperation, security, ambition, and public trust, which is the recognition, of course, that space can and must be protected for the benefit of all people. Today, as was the case 60 years ago, our nation's leadership in space is critical to our economic prosperity, to our scientific and technological progress, and in a time of increasing great power rivalry, to our national security. So the mission of this council is to preserve and promote American leadership in space, to synchronize our nation's civil and commercial and national security space activities so that America may continue to use space to improve the lives of people in our nation and throughout our world. Last year at the first meeting of the National Space Council, we identified 3 priorities essential to that mission. First, expanding our STEM workforce. And I've invited some students here today because they truly are the future of our leadership on that level. Second, a priority is addressing the climate crisis. And third, promoting international rules and norms to govern space activities. Today, the business of our work is for the Council to report on the work that has occurred since our last meeting across these areas. We will today also discuss the work yet ahead, the work we must still do to continue to move forward. In particular, the work we must do to build a skilled